All right, so we're diving into something pretty wild today, something you'd really only find over at the Snuffington. I mean, it is from the
Yeah.
Snuffington,
Yeah.
but still.
Yeah.
Joe Biden dropping out of the 2024 race. I think we all remember where we were when we heard that.
Absolutely. It stopped the presses, as they say.
And everyone was wondering the same things at first, at least, right? Age approval ratings.
Yeah.
Maybe he just couldn't resist those early bird specials in Delaware.
You know, the usual suspects when a politician makes a sudden exit.
Exactly.
But this deep dive, well, let's just say we're throwing the typical playbook out the window for this one.
Oh, yeah. Listeners sent this one in because it is truly something else. And they know we love to get into the weird stuff.
The heart of the matter, or maybe we should say the chew toy at the center of it all.
Is none other than Commander.
The first dog himself.
And we dug through this whole article by Chip Scoopington, the Snuffington's very own chief canine correspondent. I love that title, by the way.
It's very the Snuffington, isn't it?
It really is. And the picture Scoopington paints is, well, it's not exactly the image of a loyal first dog that we're used to. Let's put it that way.
That's putting it mildly. Agent of disarray might be more accurate. And that's saying something considering we're talking about the White House here.
It really makes you wonder how those history books are going to sum all this up.
Right. Will it be Commander, man's best friend, or presidential prankster?
Maybe. From good boy to public enemy number one. I mean, where do we even start? Scoopington's got all these details about Commander going on a full-blown rampage.
Oh, it's a greatest hits of canine chaos, eating the nuclear football.
Hold on. Eating the nuclear football. Like the actual nuclear football.
You know the one with the launch codes? Yeah, that nuclear football. Apparently Commander has a taste for international diplomacy with a side of plutonium.
Okay, I can maybe understand a dog getting into some snacks, maybe even like a shoe or something. But the nuclear football, what are they even doing with it?
Right. You'd think that thing would be under lock and key 24/7. I mean, I'm picturing some poor intern chasing Commander through the rose garden.
Trying to pry open a dog's mouth to get to the launch codes for America's nuclear arsenal.
The visual alone is enough to give a person nightmares.
Yeah.
But it really gets you thinking about the day-to-day reality in the White House, huh? Not exactly what you see on the news.
Definitely not.
Mm.
And I thought those photos of the Oval Office turned into a giant ball pit were strange.
Ah, yes, the ball pit.
Diplomatic meetings must take on a whole new meaning.
You're telling me, imagine trying to negotiate a trade deal while wading through a sea of plastic balls.
World leaders in suits covered in dog hair.
Not exactly the picture of international diplomacy we're used to. And speaking of diplomacy, Scoopington's got this whole thing about the French president and something called the ball pit incident during a NATO meeting.
Oh no, did someone slip?
Let's just say it involved a very important world leader, a very deep ball pit, and a surprising lack of grace.
I bet the Secret Service had their paws full that day.
You think? And all while Dr. Jill Biden's trying to grade papers or whatever first ladies do amidst the chaos. I mean, can you imagine?
Poor Dr. Biden. I can't even imagine what that must have been like. It's almost enough to make you wonder if she ever considered trading in the whole First Lady gig for something a little less chaotic.
Like a nice quiet life with a goldfish.
Maybe a cat, something that doesn't eat nuclear codes or turn the Oval Office into a playground.
It really does make you think about the role of cursed pets, doesn't it?
They're supposed to be these comforting figures, right? A little bit of normalcy in the midst of all the craziness.
Yeah, you've got your presidential portraits, your historical artifact, and then bam, a German Shepherd tearing through the East Wing.
Commander really flipped the script on that one, didn't he?
He turned the White House into his own personal dog park.
And it wasn't just like behind-the-scenes stuff either, right? Scoopington really lays it out.
Oh no, this wasn't just some White House insiders whispering about chewed-up furniture and missing slippers. This went global.
Global. And I think for a lot of people, this was the moment where it went from, okay, that's kind of funny, to like, wait, is anyone in charge over there?
The climate accord signing, that was something else. I mean, picture it.
World leaders all in one room, ready to, save the planet.
And suddenly they're all chasing a dog through the halls of power because he's run off with a treaty in his mouth.
You really can't make this stuff up.
It's like someone took a political cartoon and made it real life. And it kind of makes you wonder, right? Are we sure the Snuffington isn't writing our reality these days?
Okay, but in all seriousness, this climate accord thing, that seems to be the turning point.
At least that's the impression Scoopington gives. The article really makes you feel for Biden here. You can almost hear him thinking, okay, that's it. I can't be leader of the free world. And chase after a dog who thinks treaties are chew toys.
And that resignation speech he gave, I mean, talk about a tough spot to be in.
Trying to make it sound all noble and dignified, you know. My family needs me.
I need to focus on the important things,
Huh.
right? Meanwhile, everyone's thinking about Commander doing laps around the Oval Office with a mouthful of climate commitments.
It's tough to spin that no matter how good your PR team is. And Scoopington really picks up on something interesting, I think. In Biden's speech, this real exhaustion, like the man just needs a nap.
Yeah, and maybe a good dog trainer.
Or like 100 dog trainers.
Yeah.
And a lifetime supply of chew toys that aren't vitally important to national security.
I'm just picturing Biden on a farm somewhere in Delaware,
Yeah.
surrounded by grandkids.
And a very well-behaved old fish.
No more state dinners, no more foreign dignitaries, just peace and quiet.
Oh.
But then, of course, because the internet can't resist a good conspiracy theory, we get to the part of Scoopington's article about, Commander's motives.
Yes. Because a dog can't just be a dog, right? There has to be some grand scheme afoot.
Had to be aliens or something.
Pretty much. I mean, we've got everything from Russian asset
Which honestly wouldn't even be the weirdest thing to happen in politics lately.
to Commander being some kind of like furry avatar for the electorate's frustrations.
Like a four-legged embodiment of our collective anxieties about the state of the world.
Exactly. A furry little chaos muppet here to chew up the system from the inside out. Which honestly, I'm kind of here for it.
I mean, it's hard to argue with that kind of energy.
Hmm.
And of course, we can't forget about a certain someone who just couldn't resist chiming in.
Oh, he was on that tweet button faster than you can say executive order.
Make America great again, one dog treat at a time.
Predictable.
Honestly, at this point, if he didn't tweet about it, I'd be more surprised. And then there's Kamala Harris completely overhauling her campaign around paw and order.
It's like everyone in Washington saw this whole thing as an opportunity to push their own agendas.
Like a giant game of political fetch with the fate of the free world hanging in the balance.
And we're all just stuck watching, wondering when someone's going to finally put the chew toy away.
I mean, it's not like Commander's antics were a total shock, right? This wasn't his first rodeo.
Right? Like, remember that whole Easter egg roll situation?
Oh, yeah, that was rough. And wasn't there something about the British ambassador and a leg?
Let's just say international relations got a little too bilateral for a moment.
Okay, so maybe there were some signs, some red flags that maybe a German Shepherd wasn't the best fit for the White House.
You'd think someone would have stepped in at some point and said, hey, maybe we need a different approach here. Like maybe less fetch and more stay.
Right, but who are we kidding? It's the White House puppies chewing on things probably doesn't even crack the top 10 list of crazy stuff that happens there.
Probably not. And look, it's not like every president goes with a goldfish, right?
Yeah.
They've all had pets, some with more personality than others.
Yeah, you have to wonder, though, if any of them were quite as hands-on as Commander.
I think it's safe to say Commander set a new bar for first pet chaos.
He really did. And, Scoopington ends the article on this kind of a thought-provoking note about whether maybe Commander accidentally exposed something about the whole system.
Like a stress test for American democracy. And it turns out a dog with a taste for treaty paper is all it takes to throw everything into disarray.
Yeah, like, is it even possible to be president these days with all the pressure and responsibility? And on top of that, you've got a dog who's basically a furry little agent of chaos running around.
And not just any chaos, right? We're talking nuclear codes, climate treaties, the whole shebang.
It makes you wonder if maybe the Founding Fathers didn't really account for that in the Constitution.
Right, like the right to bear arms and the responsibility to keep your dog from eating the nuclear football.
It almost makes you want to curl up on the Oval Office rug yourself and just let someone else handle it for a while.
That's the beauty of being a dog, I guess. You get to cause all the chaos without having to deal with the consequences. Which, come to think of it, is a pretty good metaphor for a lot of things in life.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah.
Well, folks, there you have it. We started with a presidential resignation, got sidetracked by a rogue German Shepherd, and ended up contemplating the very fabric of American democracy.
All thanks to a little light reading from the Snuffington.
Never underestimate the power of a good deep dive. That's what I always say. So next time you see a dog chewing on something, take a closer look. It might just be the Constitution.
Or the launch codes. You never know these days.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and for goodness sake, keep your pets away from any important documents. Yeah. You've been warned.